From New York City to Los Angeles, Powered Up with Beck and Franklin is giving women of all ages permission to live the life they've always dreamed of. Why live in black and white when you can choose the brilliance of 3D and Technicolor? Each week, Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin and their high-powered guests will be here to cheer you on, to share their challenges, their successes, and what they've learned along the way. It's all about women supporting women. The stories and practical tips on sex, beauty, money, and so much more are designed to help you reconnect to the powerful woman you are. Fabulous knows no limits. Now it's time for you to expand your boundaries. Here are Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we're going to talk about control today as part of our series this year about living better and living happier and living more at peace. Linda, control is such a big deal in my life. You know, I've had to really work hard to put control in its place where it should be.
Well, I think control is a big part of everybody's life, whether or not they admit it or not. And it's really a joy-sucking thing that we do to ourselves. And if we can learn how to control the control, I think we're all going to be a lot happier. What happened? Me neither.
Linda, can you hear me?
Now I can.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, we're here today talking about control. And control is such a big deal for me. I had to really wrestle with it. It was like a giant lion in my life.
Well, I think it is a giant lion in everybody's life, Sandra. Whether people admit it or not, it's there, and we do things to keep it in control to keep the control in control, and all it does is suck happiness from our lives because we're trying so hard to keep everything the way it should be that we don't have time to appreciate what's going on.
Well, and, you know, are we born controlling, do you think? Like, I know I was always a headstrong, challenging kid, but I think, you know, at different times in my life, I've gotten more or less controlling.
Well, I think control is fear-based. I've always said that. I've always felt that, and I haven't changed my opinion on that. So I think the more fear we have about things, whatever those things are, the more controlling we're going to be. And I don't think we come into this world being fearful, but life kind of makes us that way.
So when you look at controlling behaviors, like what I look at in my life, when my life felt out of control, like after my divorce or during, you know, my mom's cancer and ultimate death, I started to control things more than I did when I was feeling not out of control. Like the out of controlness in my life manifested in me trying to control others, controlling everything I could. To give me some semblance of control. And, you know, I think at the base of it was fear, you know, fear that, you know, of what's happening, fear of change, fear of what's coming next. But it, you know, I think some people can just sit still when they're afraid or sit still or withdraw. And then there's others of us that feel like we need to go out and control outcomes, control others, because there's a lot of things you can control in the world. Or think you can, because it's an illusion.
Yes, of course it's an illusion. But again, the more fear you have, the more controlling you're going to be, because the fear is, if I give up the control, all hell's going to break loose, and how am I going to survive that? And I think that's the bottom line of it all. So we do our very best to keep things the way we think, we believe they should be, in order for us to feel comfortable. I mean, I think that word comfortable is important, because the opposite is uncomfortable, and giving up control, we believe, is going to make us uncomfortable, which actually takes the fear to a higher level.
See, and it's funny because when I start to become controlling, when I feel myself become controlling, it's because of this external out of control I feel. And even if I can control my pantry or my cabinet or the laundry, like everything's got to be a certain way. And when everything's a certain way, when I'm really stressed out or feeling, overwhelmed, just a clean office or everything the way that I like it can help me bring that level of control down. And then I think that fear energy is also what fuels the behavior, because when you're frightened, you have all this energy and you need something to do with it. And, I think we can control others, we can control we can control our environment, but having things in my perceived order helps me bring my freak down.
Well, it does me too. I'm going to be starting a renovation of part of my apartment in a couple of weeks, so I'm anticipating all the upheaval. And so what am I doing? I'm taking I'm going around making sure that everything outside of that area that I'm going to be renovating is like perfect. I know it's going to end up being full of dust and things are going to get moved and it's going to be chaos, and yet I'm going around because I'm like you, that kind of soothes the anxiety of what's to come. And
or what you're experiencing. Like, my tendency to control comes, when there's so much external outside. And, and it's funny, the things I try to control, I've given up trying to control my kids. That's like controlling a cat in a bathtub. It's very hard to control kids. And I think that's why kids drive control freaks so nuts, because they don't pick up on any of the cues. They don't pick up on any of these things that most people in like a work environment, they understand the boss can be controlling, but kids, good luck with that.
No,
and dogs too.
And dogs too. Yes, and then when they do something that you have told them not to do or disagree with you, then you feel angry. How dare they? How dare they have their own opinion, or how dare the dog do something that I've told him not or her not to do? But it's so bananas what we do to ourselves, and we're going to try today to figure it out. Where does it come from? Why is it there? How can we alleviate it? And how do we get rid of it? And show examples of how our lives can be so much better when we give up that control. Because you said you can't control your kids. Well, bottom line, you can't control anybody. Wives, if they're still trying to control their husbands, good luck, because you can't do it. What was the thing when people would get married? They would say, I'll be able to change that person. He's the way he is now, but living with me and under my TLC, I'm going to change him and make him the man that I want to be. That never happens. That never happens. That's control at its nth degree, because no, we cannot change anybody else. The only person that we have the ability to change is ourselves. And before we change ourselves, first of all, we have to see what the heck we're doing in order to change it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we get knee deep in this topic, Linda, I want to tell you about our sponsor for today. We are welcoming FabFitFun back to the show, and FabFitFun is a seasonal subscription box with full-size beauty, fitness, fashion, and lifestyle products. You open this box up each season. It has brands in there like Michael Stars, Trina Turk, Moroccan Oil, Dr. Brandt, Juice Beauty, Zoya, Beaker, Chris Nations, like so many good things. And there's a lot of celebrity fans of these products, including our own Linda Franklin, Martina McBride, Ashley Tisdale, Bethany Frankel, Kyle Richards, and so many more. Now, each box retails for $49.99, but it always has a value of over $200. The fall box will be released in September, and they sell out fast, so you don't want to miss out. And if you go to FabFitFun.com and use the code POWEREDUP, you'll save $10 off your first box, making the first box only $39.99. Again, that's FabFitFun.com and use the code POWEREDUP. Now, the FabFitFun box with its value of over $200 is the perfect way to treat yourself or give as a gift to get some of the most amazing products of the season. And when you become a member, you can get your first box for $39.99 when you use the code POWEREDUP at FabFitFun.com, and you get a box of full-size products 4 times a year. So that's the FabFitFun with the code POWEREDUP, and they make a great gift, don't they, Linda?
They do, Sandra. They make a great gift because I was gifted with one for my birthday early in September, and it came as a complete surprise. It was this beautiful box, and I didn't know what the heck it was because I order so much stuff. Sometimes I lose track. But what a great surprise, because I opened it up and I pulled out all of these great things, the great lip pencil and the gym bag and the warm, the shawly scarf type thing, and even the hair rinse, which I absolutely use today because I didn't want to wash my hair with shampoo because it takes out the color. And this rinsey thing, you just put it on. It's kind of vinegar based, and you put it on your head, and your hair gets clean, but it doesn't compromise the color. So it was terrific. And I'm going to send it out, as Christmas gifts because it's so easy. It's and I know every woman is going to just love it. And I don't know what the Christmas box is going to be about, but I'm sure it's going to be as fabulous as the fall box. So I'm a fan. You made me a fan, and I appreciate it.
I did, and I got to tell you, Linda, choosing a gift for you is so much fun. But, I gave a lot of thought into it, and the FabFitFun box was really living up to its name. It is fabulous. It does have fitness stuff in there, and it is super fun. Now, we're talking today about control and, what control looks like, what control feels like, because I don't know if I know when I'm in my control stages, I don't even realize it until after the fact, but I'm getting better at recognizing when I start to feel controlling. And, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, healthy, safe, healthy self-control, fear-based control, all these different ways control can help and hurt our lives, help and hurt our relationships and our friendships, and to talk about what it looks like, takes like, sounds like, because when I see someone else being controlling, sometimes I'll step back and go, ooh, that I've done that, or ooh, I can see myself doing that. So we'll be back after the break with more from Powered Up Talk Radio, and check up our Powered Up community on Facebook. That's a Powered Up community. We'll be back after the break.
More Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
To lose weight, we know that each day we need to burn more calories than we take in through eating, and exercise burns more calories. According to Discovery Health, a 150-pound person will burn about 60 calories while taking a 1-hour nap. 1 hour of sitting and watching television burns about the same. But if that 150-pound person takes a 1-hour brisk walk, then say goodbye to more than 250 calories. Cardio exercise like running, biking, swimming, and brisk walking are the best modes of exercise to burn the highest amount of calories and will get the endorphins flowing in your body. Those feel-good neurotransmitters boost your mood naturally. So use exercise to burn calories, lose weight, and to feel good. I'm Annette Hammond. To hear other fitness and weight loss tips, visit our website at AnnetteHammond.com.
In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Girassi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward with tips, tools, and advice and hard lessons learned. These pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi. Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
We're back with Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin. We're back with Sandra, Beck, and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey ladies, this is Sandra Beck and I'm here with Linda Franklin and we are talking about control. You know, good control, bad control, control freak, control issues. You know, at different times in our lives, I think we all become more or less controlling. And some people are sneaky controllers, you know, the passive aggressive controllers. Some people are very overt with their controlling behavior. But what is it, Linda, in us that makes us think we can control other people, like control what they think, control what they do? You know, I think about, you know, the election and how everything's in an uproar now because the Russians claim to have bought all these ads on Twitter and Facebook to influence behavior. And I know that there's an influence, but there's a difference between influencing and controlling. Like when you control people or you control an outcome, or you think you can control what people think, it's always with pressure applied. It's always negative. It's always like ugly. And I know when I've controlled other people, not in a way of, you know, for the greater good. Like when I was a lifeguard, I used to have to control crowds or I would have to control things in an emergency. That's very different. But in the office situation, you know, I could get pretty controlling. And that when I look back at those behaviors, I cringe. And I think we all can go there.
We have a great sponsor today on Powered Up Talk Radio, Organifi. And you can go to Organifi.com to get 20% off your order with code POWEREDUP. Organifi is an organic superfood company that I love and use daily. From their plant-based vitamin-packed protein powder to their green juice, red juice, I get what I need every day without the mess of a juicer, the time it takes to chop, and clean the fruits and veggies, and most importantly, I have the confidence that I know what is going into my body and I'm getting what I need. See, I'm a soul-supporting single mom who cares for my 84-year-old dad and my 2 teen and preteen sons. I'm busy. See, I don't need to thrive. I have to thrive. Because on top of that, I own and run my own business that supports us. Talk about stress. I need these powerful nutrients, antioxidants, and immune-boosting herbs, along with my protein, vitamins, and minerals to knock it out of the park every day, each day. Because if I go down, we all go down. And that's not happening on my watch. And taste, gee, with all the goodness for my body, I don't really care. But I was really surprised to find out how good this stuff is. What a bonus. Try it for yourself and see how you feel. That's Organifi.com to get 20% off your order with code POWEREDUP. Organifi.com, code POWEREDUP.
I think people think if you're in control, it makes your life less complicated. But it's really the opposite of that. Because when you're that controlling, even, of yourself. First of all, we have to learn how to recognize when we're being controlling because, we say we don't want to be controlling to other people, but we have to recognize that we're very controlling to ourselves and how negative it is and what's the impact on your life when you're trying to, over-calculate absolutely everything you do. It's tiring, and you get very anxious, and you get angry, and it's all of those negative emotions that come from the controlling that you think is going to make your life happier. It's just so ludicrous when you really pull it apart and think about it. I know I like to leave. If we're going away for the weekend, I like to leave at a certain time. If we don't leave at a certain time, then I start to get all, I don't know, uneasy. That's a good word, uneasy, because we're going to be late, or we're going to hit traffic, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, and all these things are going on in my head, and it makes the whole trip a bad trip because we didn't leave exactly when I thought we should leave. Now, how stupid is that?
Well, it's a catch-22 because I think, and this is where controlling versus control versus being in control gets muddied in my book. Like, yes, you are controlling when you leave. I have to control when we leave in the morning because I got to get the kids to school on time. And, it's not the end of the world if they're late. However, when you're trying to teach your kids to be responsible in the world, getting up late consistently and being late to school is not an option. So I tend to be over controlling in the morning, which is like, get your shoes, get your backpack, put your backpack by the door, blah, 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 get your soccer bag, blah, 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 barking out orders like a drill sergeant. And they're like, I know, Mom. But on the days I don't do that, we run late. And then I find myself speeding. We're trying to get into the queue to drop the kids off. Like, there is an element of that, Linda, that's like, you know what? There is an increased chance you will get stuck in traffic. There is an increased chance you will be the back of the line. And by the time you get into the front of the carpool lane, the kids, get out and the bell is already rung and they have to go get a late pass. Like, it's that fine line between, you can't control the outcome, of course. But if I leave 15 minutes earlier to take the kids from school, I can almost guarantee they'll get there on time. Versus if we're running around at the last minute.
I don't know. I don't even think that is, the controlling that we're talking about, because that's, that's your schedule, and that works. So
I could say the same to you. When you leave for Connecticut, what works. If you leave past a certain time, there's a higher likelihood you'll get stuck in traffic.
Yeah, but why? So even if we do, and even if the kids are late for school, and even if we get stuck in traffic, and more than we need to do, we allow that to really upset us more than it should.
Yeah.
That, I think that's it, because a lot of people, they're more loosey-goosey, and they don't let these little annoyances, and that's what these are. They're not major things. They're annoyances. Get to them, but I do, and it sounds like you do too. So then we have to look at how come we're letting a little thing, upset our day.
So it's more about the internal reaction to not being in control than it is the need to control other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if we don't, look what we're doing. We put ourselves through the ringer of they'll be late, or we'll hit traffic, or whatever that case may be. Where some people just say, okay, we're just living in the moment, and so if they're late, they'll be late, but tomorrow we'll do better. I would like to be like that. I'm working toward that, so that everything isn't such a major, gadilla with me. I'm trying to give up that feeling of everything has got to be exactly the way it needs to be for me to be okay.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's kind of that catch-22 where you don't want the domino effect of your day, like everything, like when I'm late for work and then I'm late for my first meeting, and that just sets off that domino effect all day long. And then I find myself rushing home at night to try to throw dinner together, and I didn't make it to the grocery store that I had planned. There is a domino effect, and I do beat myself up a lot about that. And that's where we're controlling the outcome. We understand controlling people and trying to control each other, try to get people to do a certain thing. But controlling outcomes is really something I struggle with, because, starting in the morning and you're already late, or starting in the morning behind, that almost never gets better. And, I know I should just go with the flow. But it's really hard for me with some of these outcomes not to control those outcomes and try to manipulate things. And again, that's where I get I kind of get all mixed up inside because there's, incentivizing people, there's inspiring people, and then there's manipulating and controlling. They're kind of like negative, positive aspects of the same behavior. We're encouraging someone to do something or encouraging a certain outcome. But where does that leave us in the mix?
Yeah, well, again, it all comes back to this fear that's inside of us, that if it doesn't go that way or if that person doesn't do this, what's going to happen. And remember, the definition of fear is false evidence appearing real. Because we've talked about this before. We have no idea what's going on in somebody else's head or what they're thinking, and nor should we, because it's impossible. We can only do that for ourselves. So getting rid of any kind of negative emotion that lives in us is a very, very good thing, because the more of that we can get rid of, the more happiness we're going to find in our life. And control is just one example of what that fear does. It's a very negative emotion. Anger, fear, jealousy, all of it. I mean, it puts us at a very low ebb, and it does detract from our life on a daily basis. And so that's what we're trying to eliminate and find out why we do the things we do and how to make them better. And especially now, because every day, we've talked about it on the show, every day you turn on the news and there's some new disaster. Today, another earthquake, another hurricane, Trump at the United Nations threatening to blow North Korea off the face of the map. I mean, all of these things, and then it's there. It's there. And if we weren't fearful enough of our own little circle of things that are in our world, then we spread out to the larger world, the globe. What's going on? We just have to watch ourselves, look at ourselves, say to ourselves, we're not going to buy into all of this, because life is beautiful, and I'm not going to take away the joy that I know I can have if I just control. I keep saying control. That's a bad word. If I just can get rid of a lot of the fears that I'm experiencing, life is going to be so much better for me and the people around me. I don't know if you agree, but that's the way I feel.
Well, I still struggle with where control fits in like the paradigm of success and the kind of the, concept of efficiency. And, I think it's really more about me internally than it really is anything other behaviors. Because I do, it's funny, Linda. We got to go to commercial break. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin, and we're talking today on Powered Up Talk Radio. And we'd like to invite you to join our Facebook community for you to share your thoughts and what you experience as a result of today's show and shows like it. We have great conversations on fear, on control. We have conversations on transitions, all sorts of great things on our Facebook community page. And it is Powered Up Community. And you can join it and join the conversation well after the show. We'll be back after the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is for all you girls about 42, tossing pennies into the fountain of youth.
If you could live your life truly standing in a place of peace, joy, and abundance, wouldn't that make your heart soar? Now you can, with Lessons in Joyful Living, with your host, Kimberly Rinaldi, Mondays at noon Central. Kimberly Rinaldi, having created a highly successful coaching practice, now teaches Lessons in Joyful Living. She believes in empowering others and that through it, you have the ability to break through any and all barriers, thus allowing you to reach your greatest potential and joyfully step into your life's purpose. What used to take weeks, months, or even years, she can now teach you in a matter of hours with her programs. For more on Kim and her show, go to our website, KimberlyRinaldi.com. That's RINALDI.com. Then join us for Lessons in Joyful Living with your host, Kimberly Rinaldi. LinkedIn. It's a great tool and a great way to do business in today's social media driven world. And Carol McManus is the LinkedIn Lady with the LinkedIn Lady Show, Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern on allbusinessradionetwork.com. The LinkedIn Lady Show is designed to inform, inspire, and educate businesses. Every social media site has a specific demographic, personality, and purpose. And the LinkedIn Lady will interview a variety of guests, such as business owners who can showcase their business and talk about how they use social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+, Pinterest, and of course, LinkedIn. For more on Carol and the show, check out her website, LinkedInLady.com. As trends change and new applications become available, the LinkedIn Lady Show will bring that information to you in an easy-to-use, fun, and engaging way. Every Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern, it's the LinkedIn Lady Show with Carol McManus on allbusinessradionetwork.com.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
This is for all you girls about 42. When I'm walking past the mirror, don't stress through the night at a time, and my life ain't worried about what you feeling. Got my head on straight, I got my vibe right.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey, ladies, we're here at Powered Up Talk Radio, and that community on Facebook is facebook.com/poweredupcommunity. You can find us on Facebook also in the search bar. Just type in Powered Up Community. We are a community of like-minded people who talk about issues that affect our day-to-day because we are trying to create a life that is more productive, more peaceful, more powerful, and this is one of the ways we do it. We take a concept, we tear it apart, chew on it, and put it back into some techniques and things that we can do to make our lives better. And one of the things is becoming mindful or aware of our own controlling behaviors. And these controlling behaviors can be internal or external. And we talked about, controlling other people and trying to control outcomes. Part of being an employee at a company or owning a company is really truly trying to control an outcome, but how you react to controlling that outcome is the issue. Linda and I have worked on a lot of projects together for Shining Service Worldwide and collaborated on this radio show. And controlling the outcome, Linda, is such a fantasy. And it's taken me years to be able to put these projects together and put them in motion and push them forward without being tied to a specific outcome. That's a real challenge for me.
Yes, I think that's a challenge for most people. But now that you have sort of seen the other side of that, by putting it into motion, doing the work that you need to do, and then just having it out there without you manipulating it, you see the results are so much different than when you have to control it, 24/7.
Yeah, I know, but
it's part of letting go.
Again, when do you let go? When do you become hands off? Because there is healthy control in leadership. There is healthy control in management, and I think that line sometimes gets really blurry.
I think that when you're doing something and it doesn't feel good, you know that you're not on the right road, and that you have to take a step back and take a look at what you're doing, because we talk about this too, at the pushing forward. It got to get done. I know it's got to get done. We have this deadline. We have got to get done. I got to do this. I got to do that. And meanwhile, you are stressed. You're unhappy. You're not feeling well, and those are all indications that whatever you're doing at that time is not what you need to be doing. So you have to pay attention. And sometimes I know you're working so hard and you're such in a whirlwind that you're not paying attention to the signs. So you get confused. The signs are always there. When it feels good, keep going. When it stops feeling good, you stop.
Sometimes I never get out of bed then. I mean, truly, but you're right. I mean, the signs are there, and slowing down enough. I think, our society as a whole goes so fast, but, you've got to learn about yourself too. I think that's, knowing where your control limits are, knowing where your control boundaries are. Those are challenges, and they take time. It's like you don't just sit down one day and go, you know what, Linda, I'm going to review my control issues, and then write them down on a piece of paper, and then you're done. It doesn't work that way.
No, of course not. They're habits. I mean, you've been doing them most of your life. You can't stop them in one day, but you certainly can become aware of them, and you can see how your body reacts. That's the best way of figuring things out, whether it's working or not. And I'm telling you, when your body is tired, or it's stressful, or you're feeling nauseous, or you got a stomach ache, or you got a headache, it's time to say, okay, maybe I need to slow down. Maybe I've got to stop and rethink this, because whatever I'm doing, I know the outcome isn't going to be what I want, because it's no fun getting there.
No, and I like that. That you've got to stop and rethink this. That's one of the things that the morning pages are helping me do a lot, because I do go 100 miles an hour all day long. And most of the time, by the time I go to bed, I'm ready to fall asleep within, 10 seconds. And I'm up and out like a cannon in the morning with the kids. But what I've been doing lately, Linda, is these morning pages, and they're only I only write one page, but I sit down before my day starts. And sometimes I have to get up really early before my day starts. That could mean 4:30 in the morning. But those 15 or 20 minutes of peace with myself and a cup of tea and my morning pages, which is just a piece of paper that I write things down on so that I can figure out things that I can't figure out while I'm going through my day, because there's just too many demands, too many things pushing and pulling on me for me to slow down and be able to focus. But early in the morning, I can focus. And when I do that, I find my day goes so much better. I don't feel the need to control as much. And I can think about my day prior and go, okay, well, what did I do that worked, and what did I do that didn't work?
Okay.
And that's the best I can do right now.
Okay, but
that's the slow down moment for me.
I don't want people to confuse your morning page with a to-do list, because it's completely different.
No, right. It is absolutely completely different. What it is, it's kind of like a little conversation I have with myself. And I sit down and I say, okay, Sam, what did we do, that was good? What's on your mind? What did we struggle with yesterday? And it's not about, did I get the kids to soccer on time? It's like, well, I gave too much at the soccer game that afternoon. I stayed and volunteered too long, and it got me in trouble with the rest of the day. So I've got to make sure that next time I have a stronger boundary, and I say, like, when I have to go, I have to go. And, I'm a big pushover a lot of times when I'm already there volunteering. And somebody says to me, oh, can you just stay a few more minutes? Well, in that case, a few more minutes lasted like an hour and a half.
Well, that's you.
That was all on me. And
so, your morning pages, and for people, you can make your morning pages in 2 columns. What if you're going reflecting on yesterday so that today can be as good or better? What worked? What didn't work? Make it simple. What worked? This is what I did yesterday. Boy, that felt good. That worked. I got the result I wanted. What didn't work? Yeah, I said I was going to stay there for another 5 minutes, and I stayed an hour and a half, and that didn't work. So what in me made me think that I had to stay? I got to work on that.
Right. And I identified it. It's like I feel guilty because I'm not doing as much as I used to do. And it was all about me. And you know what? If I had walked away, somebody else would have filled that spot. It's not like the world falls apart. When we say no, and that's a lot about, controlling, and self-control is about as much about saying no as it is to saying yes. And being able to identify that I don't have to feel guilty that I'm not, doing 25 hours a month. I'm only doing 2 a month. We all get that same 24 hours in the day. And this is the conversations that I have in my head as I work on these pages.
Yes.
And in a perfect world, they would have happened on or before that volunteer, experience happened.
But let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. When you said I will stay the extra time, what was your body feeling? How were you feeling when you were there for what was supposed to be 10 minutes turning into an hour and a half? Were you stressed? Were you upset? Were you mad at yourself for doing it?
All of the above. I was
all of the above.
Stiff.
So that was the indication.
My jaw was clenched. You name it. My whole body was resisting.
Yes. So you didn't pay attention to it, and that's when we get into trouble. We have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not about them. It's about I'm doing this. So big frigging deal. But look what I'm putting myself through. I stressed out my body beyond belief. So I'm not going to do that anymore. But recognizing it, stopping for a second and just at the time that it's happening and saying, whew, oh my God, this is ridiculous. I can't do this to myself anymore because this is hurting me.
Right.
That, it's just recognizing that at the time and then reflecting on it on your morning pages the next morning, you're not going to do that anymore.
No, because I made a promise to myself. I acknowledged, what went on. It's like you felt guilty because of this, and that's silly. And, and it's like these morning pages don't take a long time. They only take 10, 15 minutes. But you kind of do a review of what didn't work for you. I don't really sit there and pat myself on the back that what did work for me. I look at what didn't work for me, and then I make a plan, like a proactive plan to be, there in the future. Like if I'm going to stay for 10 minutes, I'm going to set my alarm on my phone. It'll go off. And then I'm going to say, you know what, guys, I have to go.
Right. And that's good control.
That I have a system.
And that's good control. That's not negative control. That's good control because you're doing something that's going to make you feel better. That's good control. So I think we have to define, that might be, but that's self-control.
Right. That was self-control, and these behaviors that control us. Like if I had just gone down that guilt train, I would have let the feelings of guilt control me. And that's where I started examining like internal self-control and then controlling others. Like I could have been mad at everybody around me and tried to control everybody so I could leave. There are a lot of different things I could do.
But
having a plan.
But you're staying with fear-based. What's going to happen? They're not going to like me, or they're going to do something if I leave now. That was fear-based.
They're going to be mad at me.
Yeah, they're going to be mad at me.
We'll be back after the break with more on control issues, internal and external. Self-control, is it healthy? How do we create healthy behaviors? More after the break.
We've got lots more Powered Up with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin after these messages.
Congratulations on being the proud owner of an adorable, soft, cuddly, sweet-smelling, smiling, cooing, hungry, tired, gassy, screaming little bundle of joy. So now what? Where's the owner's manual for this thing? Where are my instructions? Right here. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com. Infant care specialist Blythe Lipman has worked with babies for over 20 years. and works extensively with new parents, providing workshops, in-home visits, tips, and daily phone calls to ease those frazzled nerves. With baby and toddler instructions, you can get the advice you need on how to survive and enjoy your baby's first year. For more information on Blythe and how she can help you, go to babyinstructions.com. From 32 ways to stop a baby from crying to 14 ways to get a baby to eat and so much more. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com.
It's words you never heard.
Did you know that besides home and work, Americans spend more time at the mall than anywhere else? There are 50,000 shopping malls in the United States alone. The Mall of America, located between Minneapolis and St. Paul, is the largest in the world, with more than 500 stores. What's a word for a person who is a compulsive shopper? An oniomaniac. Studies have shown that women will buy more if they hear their heels clicking on the floor. So designers often use hard flooring in hallways. Of course, the stores want customers to spend all their coopity-coop. That's another word for money. Well, I gotta run. There's only one more shopping day until tomorrow. My husband said if I don't quit shopping so much, he would leave me. Lord, I'm gonna miss that man.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
We're back with Sandra Beck and Linda Franklin. Here's more Powered Up with Beck and Franklin.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin. And we're going to talk about this segment, what we can do to stop our controlling behaviors, whether they're internal and they control us, or they're external and we try to control others or try to control the outcome. And Linda, one of the best pieces of advice you've ever given me was to step back whenever I'm in a situation that's either uncomfortable, it's frightening, it's angering, any sort of negative weirdness I feel. I take a step back and look at it like a movie scene. Like I pull myself out of it, like I'm watching it on TV, and I kind of assess the scene. I look at the people. I try not to get involved in the emotion, but taking a step back and looking at like a movie scene, I then can see my role in it. And even if I should be in the middle of it at all.
No, well, that's it. So that taking a step back and just watching what you're doing is very, very helpful. And also identifying the fear that's driving you to that behavior. I think that's the crux of it too, is in order to stop the controlling behavior that you do not like, then you have to go deep and figure out the fear that's driving you to that control. Because without that, you're not going to do it. It's an inside job. It has nothing to. It's not in your head. You have to really go deep inside and saying, okay, why do I feel that I have to be in control of everything? What is that fear that drives me? So yeah, standing back and then going down, and which is a scary thing, to find out what is that fear that drives me to want to control everything. Why do I feel if I don't control everything, the whole world is going to go to hell in a handbasket, and I'm going to suffer? What is that? Where did that come from?
Right, the crazy thinking. Because like step one is take a step back. Step two, figure out the emotion that's driving the behavior, if it's fear or shame or anger, whatever it is. Then step three, you got to identify that crazy thinking, because the likelihood of these people getting and staying mad at me, they're all my friends. They've all known me for 10 years. The world's not going to fall apart because I leave.
No, absolutely not.
Especially when it's not even my event. That's how crazy that thinking was.
Right, and you suffered as a result. So next time, and this is one of our steps, whatever you think you should be doing, do the opposite.
That's right. Just do the
So
opposite.
when they said,
Because
"Sam,
when I
can you
felt I should
stay?"
I should
You'd
go.
say, "No, I'm sorry, but I've got a phone call. Or I've got a meeting at home. I got to get home."
Yeah, yeah. It's like step back, look at it, figure out the emotion. My emotion was guilt or fear that they're not going to like me, or fear that they're going to be mad at me. Then I, identify the crazy thinking, go, this is really crazy talk. I mean, truly, truly crazy talk. I think, the idea that we think we can control the outcome of an event or a party. When I had my kid's birthday party, and, I was thinking about, normally I would control everything, and there were a lot of situations I couldn't control. And I think that's where also, do your best and do the opposite. I should have stayed, or I should have gone and not stayed. But also give yourself some slack. Like, when you think of this conversation that we have, Linda, about the crazy thinking, I can't believe we listen to ourselves.
No, we do. And we have to give ourselves, as you said, we have to be gentle with ourselves, because we've been doing this, chances are, all of our lives. So we're not going to stop. And when we first start to change that behavior and do the opposite, it's not going to feel comfortable. But the more you do it, the more comfortable it's going to be, and then it's going to become our new way of behavior without even thinking about it. You're going to say, what works for me? Am I going to be okay with this? And the answer is yes, and then you just do it. So, it's going to be uncomfortable for a while, but any change of behavior is always uncomfortable for a while, because it's like a muscle, and the more if you don't exercise, it's weak, but the more you exercise it, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and then after a while, you're just not going to think about it. You're just going to make the better decision right away.
Right. Like those morning pages. I made a vow to myself that, when this comes up again, I'm just going to do what I need to do and not be swayed by feelings that, like you said, false evidence appearing real. These were evidential feelings appearing real. And, they weren't real. They were based on, my feelings were based on wrong thinking. But I had to untangle that, and that took some time. That took a sit down with a cup of coffee in the morning and kind of a pick apart for a few minutes of what that situation was. But see, Linda, if I didn't do that morning page pick apart, if I didn't do that, 10 minutes with a cup of tea going, okay, what am I going to do next time? I would be doomed to repeat that behavior over and over and over. And that's how you get to hate your life.
Yeah, and that's a pattern that you want to break, because it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't work for you. It's old behavior. It doesn't work for you now. The new San is not, she doesn't have to punish herself.
No. And I think examining that thinking, control, perceived control, what is healthy control, not healthy control, is different for everybody, and it differs by situation, it differs by responsibility level, like where is it in there. And that's why slowing down and stopping, even for 10-15 minutes a day in the morning or at night, whatever you want to do, can give you that insight into your own behavior.
Yes, and certain we haven't talked about discipline. I think there's certain disciplines that we have in our lives that work for us, and they don't make us feel uncomfortable. Whether it's eating right or going to the gym or just all of this that we're doing. All of this work this internal work we're doing is you have to have discipline to do it, because it's challenging. But the results are terrific, just like the results are terrific when you go to the gym, and the results are terrific when you eat right, and all of those, and when you're nice to people, you get so much more back. So it's discipline. It's not being controlling, because they feel good. You know that you're doing something good for yourself, rather when you're in control or when you're being controlling. I think that voice in your head is saying, this is not what you should be doing. This is crazy. This doesn't feel good. And then if your body is going to let you know right away that it's agreeing, it doesn't feel good. It's not right. I should, I got to go down another road. It's when you pull it apart, it's not all that difficult. We just have to say, yeah, this is something that's so important to me that it's going to change my life. So yeah, I'm going to go through all of these things that are going to take me to the other side, because it's so worth it.
It is so worth it.
And that's why, I encourage people like you have to go to our Facebook page, Facebook / Powered Up Community. Tell us what you're thinking. If you agree with us, if you don't agree with us, tell us something that you're doing that we may not have talked about. Because I go there every day, and I really want to talk to you. Community is important because this work is important. This is the most important work you have in your life, and it's so much more rewarding when you can do it with other people of like mind, so that you can bounce things back and forth, because not everybody is going to understand it. But the people in this community, like Sandra and I, do understand it, and we know the importance of it, and we want to be there to work with you, right?
Well, yeah, and to support you and to help you understand, because, we're learning, these type of things, you get better at it, but you can never really master it. You just get to the point where you're constantly making improvements, but the improvements show really great results quickly.
Yeah, you're never done. I mean, as long as you're in a human body, you're never done. You're always going to be, learning and working at something. So it's never done. But it's so rewarding when you do this work and then you see a positive result and how much better you feel. I mean, it's amazing. So, I mean, it really is the best thing you can do for yourself.
It is. And, the one thing that I will notice about those, like the little morning pages that I do is I find when something's coming up over and over again, or I listen for messages, like if people tell me, oh, Sam, you're really negative, or, oh, wow, you sound bitter, and you kind of hear these things over and over, they're worth examining, because there's a lot of clues out there. Like you said, I'm going too fast most of the time to pick up on the clues, but the clues are there. And if you sit down for a minute and you think like, gosh, I heard this, or somebody said this, and this is the third or fourth time this month somebody said something similar. Maybe I should think about it. Maybe I should look into it. Maybe I should write it down on a piece of paper and then just take a look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have to, determine what works for you, and your heart and your body are going to give you clues. Yeah, it is, or no, it isn't. And life can be so. We always say, life is what is simple, but it's not easy. But we have all of these resources that we can use, and that's what we're here for. And let's use everything that we can to bring joy into our lives, because I think that's what we want, and that's why we're here. Let's not get in the way of that.
Right. And things that get in the way are, things that other people say, they're false beliefs that we have. And a false belief is something that maybe was told to us as a kid, or, told to us by a mean brother or sister, or a mean kid at school. And, and we take that on. We take that and make it part of us. And it's, that falseness, like in the fear, false evidence appearing real. We have to determine, each and every one of us, what is our truth.
And let it go. Just let go of all of that stuff that's taking the joy out of our life, to letting it go. I mean, that's a very conscious decision. We want to let it go. When we let things go, we make room for new things, new good things that make us happy.
That's it. Well, I'm going to let everybody go today. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Linda Franklin. This is Powered Up Talk Radio, and that community that we're talking about is on Facebook. It's the Powered Up Community. You can find it in the search box under Powered Up Community on Facebook. And I'm going to just make a quick recommendation of Julia Cameron's books out there. She's got a bunch of them out there, and she details about these morning pages for a wide variety of different things: recovery, addiction, relationships. They're really helpful. I encourage you to look into them. We'll be back again next week.
We're so glad you joined us for Powered Up with Beck and Franklin. Sandra Beck, Los Angeles-based single mother and technology company owner, knows what it's like to be fit, funny, and fantastic in your 40s. Linda Franklin, a New Yorker with a successful marriage and